And somebody looking to learn can learn by watching me train. I will be using the cold steel mini leather neck, which is my most recent addition to my micro collection, if you call it. Here it is. And I figured out a way to, don't try anything you see me do at home, disclaimer, YouTube disclaimer, first of all. Secondly, if you're gonna train knife fighter martial arts, use a training knife, not an actual knife. Now for my training, I figured out a way where I can use the actual knife as a training knife. And don't try that at home. So, if you're gonna train knife fighting martial arts, you want something as close to the real deal, the real thing as possible. Meaning, if I'm gonna be training, I'm gonna be carrying this on me, this specific knife. This is my EDC blade, let's say. And I'm gonna be training fighting with this. To train smart means I'm building muscle memory for connecting with this knife in knife fighting, say, which has unique characteristics like the length. Okay, so if I'm training knife fighting martial arts, impact training, for example, on a dummy, and I'm practicing being this far closer to distance and connecting with the neck. And for this knife, I'm training knife fighting martial arts for fighting with this knife. Okay. Now, obviously, it doesn't make sense that I buy a training knife that's this long, and I train with that, a 30 centimeter training knife. And then if I'm getting a knife fighting, this is the knife that I'm having on me, EDC carrying. You want something as close to the original as possible. So if you have this knife for EDC carry, and that's what you carry in case you need a knife in a knife fight, it doesn't make sense that you use something that doesn't have the same dimensions. So you want something with as close to the same dimensions, and you want something as close to the real thing as possible. So if you're training to fight with this knife, you want something that's as close to the knife as possible, the real knife. Okay. So a lot of cold steel knives, they have a training version. I talked about that before. I have a cold steel Recon Tanto, and I have a cold steel Recon Tanto training knife, which has exactly the same dimensions as the actual knife. So that's also not a basic of training knife fighting or anything. You're training sword fighting, stick fighting, knife fighting. If you're training knife fighting, or you're training sword fighting, and you have a bokken training sword that's 40 centimeters tall, it's a wakizashi bokken, and you're training. And the katana I have at home for like home defense and this, it's a katana. So if you have a weapon for self-defense, it doesn't make sense that I have this knife as my EDC knife for knife fighting if I need to. And it's this long, the blade, or this way, so here's my reach. But I have a training knife that's this long, see? Because when I'm training, you're building muscle memory. Here's another example. I've been training a lot of bare knuckle fighting, like hitting the dummy with bare knuckles. And then I buy like proper gloves, and it's like 3 inches in front of the knuckles. And I've been drilling, connecting me around the dummy and like touching, like his distance, touch with this, the jab, bare knuckle. And then it's like I get on gloves and I have 3 inches of extra reach or something like this, 2 at least. And I notice how it's like I end up missing or hitting early or something like this, because I've been drilling, connecting with this distance, and then the distance has changed. So it's the same thing. If you're training knife fighting martial arts, you want something as close to the real knife as possible, but you don't want to use a real knife for certain types of training. Like obviously I couldn't use this in sparring, okay, training. I couldn't use this in sparring. It'd be stupid, okay. And I couldn't use it for impact training. So what I call, when I talk about training, I call it, I count as impact training, where I'm impacting with my techniques. So there's knife fighting shadow boxing, which is similar to like karate kata or something. This is knife fighting shadow boxing. There's impact training, and then there's sparring. There's 3 important parts of knife fighting training to get better at knife fighting. There's 3 major parts of training you should be doing if you're really serious about getting better at knife fighting. Shadowboxing, impact training, and sparring. And you want all 3 parts ultimately. Shadowboxing, impact training, and sparring. So shadowboxing is recommended starting out. It's like you practice different stances, attacking from those stances. Shadowboxing, it's knife fighting shadowboxing. Now notice how I'm not impacting anything with my techniques. I'm shadowboxing. I'm practicing attack. I can imagine this guy in front of me. I'm leading with this, and then what I do, I can do this, okay, and stuff like that. So this knife fighting shadowboxing, and then this impact training. And impacting is after you start, you learn different stances and techniques in shadowboxing. You want to, at some point, start doing impact training, where you're not just attacking the air, but you've been drilling, like learning to attack, for example, 12 to 6, like this, for example, and then return to roll, like this, for example. You've been drilling, you learn that technique in shadowboxing, and you've been using it in shadowboxing. You've learned other ways of attacking from here, like this, for example. There's the next step. And then you learn all these different attacks, and then you practice them in shadowboxing. Now, you want to apply it to impact training. So impact training would be where I'm actually impacting with my techniques, and not just the air. So if I'm practicing shadowboxing, it's, okay, the guy's this close and I'm practicing a hook instead, like here, for example. That's shadowboxing. See, that's knife fighting shadowboxing. Practicing hitting on the rib cage with this hook instead. Now, I don't want to only do shadowboxing. After I learn the technique, I want to apply it in impact training, which means actually impacting with your attacks. Why is that good? Because it's closer to the real thing of a knife fight where you impact with techniques. And also, how could it go wrong? If you only do knife fighting shadowboxing, that's all you do. There can be flaws in your game that you don't discover. So the flaws in your game can be exposed. Like I've talked a lot about the grip. If you have a bad grip and you're impressed with yourself, like you hum fast to move around stuff, and then you only do that. But if you go practice with a training knife on a tree or something like this, you might notice how you start doing your combos. It's like the first time you impact, you lose the knife because you haven't been gripping it right. You expose flaws in your game, and you're training in a way that actually translates to real fighting. It's not just like hitting the air, because I can hit in the air with a limp wrist and a bad grip and move my arm fast. But if I have a bad grip here, then I lose the knife and I'm not cutting deeply. So 3 important parts of knife fighting martial arts training. It's shadowboxing, impact training, and sparring. And ultimately do all 3. And as I said before, so say now again, when you're training knife fighting martial arts, you don't want to use a real knife impact training or sparring, obviously. It's a risk you told, because you hurt the person you're sparring with. And if I would use this knife for impact training, they would be good for 1 training session. Okay, because I will destroy it. So, a lot of cold steel knives, they have a training version that's kind of soft rubber. It's like a rubber. The cold steel soft training knives, like the rubber ones, they do 2/3 of knife fighting training well. And there will be sparring and shadowboxing. So with the cold steel rubber training knives, you can do the knife fighting shadowboxing, meaning have the rubber knife and practice grip changes, things like this, with less risk of hurting yourself. And you can practice sparring. Whatever. Now the impact training, they're not the best for that. It's better to have a stiff, more rigid knife, because if you practice a combo, you stab it, it bends, and now it's like this, it changes upon impact. So the cold steel rubber training knives are good for 2/3 of the knife fighting training. It's sparring and shadowboxing. You don't want a hard, stiff, rigid knife going to full speed or close to it, sparring, because even a stiff knife can break ribs, it can dig into the liver, it can cause damage. So anyway, support. This is my cold steel mini leather neck, and it's a dagger. And what I figured out, I improvised a way where I can use the actual knife as a training knife. And what is that? Well, I'll show you. And all you need for this, if you want to attach your security sheet more securely to the knife, this is how you do it. So these are rubber hairbends. Here's a micro scissor. I could use the knife itself, but basically it's cutting it. Here's a Q-tip, or you could use a match. It's good to have a scissor. So you have scissor, rubber bands, rubber hairbends, and a Q-tip. So here's how it works. If I remove these, now I could use these as an attachment point, but it's not going to be as secure. So I'm cutting this open. This is an attachment for sheets. So here we go. Get this here. Squeeze it in. Comes out here. This is how I figured out, invented and improvised how I can use this knife in impact training. And it's simple. And do it like this. See? And I can use the same one and do a cross. Go down here. Tie it here. It's not rocket science. And then go across. And that's hard enough. It's resistance enough. But I want to have some redundancy. Because you don't want the handle, you really don't want the handle to come off. So you can cut yourself. So don't try this at home. Okay? Don't try anything you do at home. But if you want to, like a child, make this harder to open for some reason, this is a way to do it. I don't recommend using this in training as a disclaimer. It's not impossible, you can still get hurt, but it's definitely safer than not doing it. So get a second one here. Come around. And I can actually go up here. Here's my cold steel, other cold steel knife, cold steel B Contemptor. So this is a cold steel mini leather knife, double edge. And this is the cold steel B Contemptor. Okay. So in the Japanese samurai fighting system, there's tento, wakizashi, and katana. So a tento is basically a knife, and a wakizashi is the short sword, and a katana is the long sword. So here's another thing. Knife fighting is the same thing as sword fighting, with a very small sword. And sword fighting is knife fighting with very big knives. See? So sword fighting is basically knife fighting with huge knives, okay? Because if you have this and you excel it, this is like a katana. See? It's like the same shape. If you would upscale it, it'd be a katana or wakizashi. So anyway, here's the point. This is easier to carry in your pocket or wherever. This is a small, easily concealable knife that's big enough to be a problem. It's not the biggest knife. There'd be some advantage to having a bigger dagger. But the advantage of this is that it's small enough to be easily concealable, and I end up not having a hard time carrying it. So this knife, if I have sweatpants or boxer shorts, with this, is I can carry it easily no matter what I'm wearing. Even with boxers, I could have this. It's my boxer shorts. I could just have this and tuck it inside the boxer shorts, like the stretch band, and it's gonna stay there. There's there's a way to carry it, no matter what you're wearing, inside of a sweatpant pocket, whatever. So I've secured this. It's ready for training. I could do the same with this, but I'm not going to. Here's another thing you can do. This I call it SAHA cutting, which is when you're cutting from the sheath with the drawing motion, rather than going like this. And then attacking. I'm attacking with my drawing motion. So I have it here. And then I'm drawing and attacking with the same movement. So I'm cutting with I'm sheathing, see? From here, see? Here. Now, with this kind of like vestigial, where there's a whole Japanese martial arts about this, because I'm cutting from the sheath as part of like traditional Japanese martial arts, like Aido, whatever it's called. Now, with a knife like this, you don't really have to. This is a little bit different. So if you have a long sword, there's more of a need to like rotate the sheath, possibly push it back and like rotate your body to buy more space to be able to free it and cut. With this, it's easier. I mean, you could have it here and then just cut straight from it. And you don't have to turn your body back and then cut. It's easier to do that. But from here, and I'm cutting this angle here. There's things like this. This is not important to practice things like this, but it is things I do for fun. So this is a good knife for fighting. Now what I'll be using is this. I'll get my gloves. I learned my lesson for practice with this like this before. This is hard plastic, so as I'm impacting, it really like digs into your fingers. I'll be practicing knife fighting. Impact training. These are gloves I bought on Temu. Good gloves. Short out my stream. Helps me know what the camera is seeing. I'll show you some of the knife fighting. Now, one of the most important parts of knife fighting is mastering, getting better at the deployment. So if you're covert killing, an important part of knife fighting is being able to deploy a weapon that you can covertly. Because all of the training I'm doing, having the weapon deployed, stabbing and whatever, it does no good if I don't get good at deploying it. Because you need a knife in your hand to fight with the knife. So an important part of knife fighting training is practicing deployment from covert carry if you're carrying covertly. So from here, see here, and I'm out, and I'm ready to attack from here. Now I'm carrying it on the outside, so that's a way to carry it overtly. Have it here, see, and that's deploying and then resheathing. If you're resheathing a knife, do it slowly and pay attention. It's easy to stab yourself. If you do it fast, you pull a knife and you like go fast on the pull and you're gonna do it fast back. That's not advice, it's easy to get hurt. So if you go fast on the deployment, you go slow on the insertion, reinsertion. So I'm gonna be using this here, this one called steel mini leather neck, double edge. I could take this actually, make it a little bit more slimy. See, that's a good call. Touch here, stab in the neck. And I'm using the reverse grip. A good target zone for knife fighting is attacking to the neck and also to the heart, the liver, and the rib cage. So chief target zones is here, here, and upper ankle. Here's the breastplate, which is bore armor. So if you want to get to the heart, attacking like this is not the best way to go about it necessarily. There's a bone here, so if you want to get under here, rather than going through it, I'm inserting the knife here and then sliding under the bone and getting in there to the heart or make the blood vessels go to and from the heart. So here's a chief target zone. Here's bone. Attacking, insert the blade around the belly button. And I taught this before, so you put your hand or your fist on the belly button, and roughly there is the insertion zone where we enter. Like aim for the belly button area at an upward angle. And if it's a longer blade like the Recontento, entering here, sliding in is easy to hit the heart or the lungs and stuff like this. So this is a target zone around the belly button at an upward angle. Especially with a longer knife. Now, even a short knife like this, you can get deep in the body. Here. So here's one target zone, and one way to attack to that target zone. Here's another target zone under the ribs, under the rib cage. So between the hip bone and the rib cage. Here, and then here the liver. Once we are under the rib cage. Above the hip bone on the rib cage here, and then the neck. So the neck here, here, and here. Good target zones. I want to get some tape. Forget about it. So knife fighting 1-2s. With this grip. I call this punch cutting, where from one to know anything. Boxing, I'm punching with my knuckles. This is a classical way to attack. Okay, punching with your fist. Watch more head. Okay, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now with this, 1, 2, 3. Now notice, slightly augmented, the boxing transfers to knife fighting. So holding a knife in reverse grip, jab, jab, and rather than impact with my knuckles to his jaw, I'm missing on purpose and punching to the side of his hand. And what happens is I punch the blade into his neck. So I call it punch carry. See? Where it's like throwing a punch, only I'm not throwing a punch here, connect with the knuckles. I'm throwing a punch to the side of the neck and impact with the blade to the neck. So it's like throwing punches, only I'm missing on purpose instead. See? So instead of going here, I'm going here, see? Throwing a punch, and I'm punching the blade. I call it punch carry. So, see here. See here. See, and I'm punching the blade into the throat, into the neck. You have carotid arteries and jugular veins here, and the windpipe and the spine at the back. So the neck is a really bad place to get stabbed or slashed. Now I'm making them straight, that's what I punch. Another way is to throw more like a hook. See here. See? And notice what happens on impact. I slide off, and that's the 1-2 knife, comes to 1-2 knife fighting combos. I slash that. So stop here. You notice what happens after impact. I end up like this to the side of the body. Similar to elbow strike. Okay, so elbow strike slides off. Okay, so here, see I attack, and this attack makes me slide to the side of the body, return with a stab. Good 1-2 combinations. See? So here, slash, stab, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and I just, not good, I'm gonna have to repair that. I actually just stabbed it into the neck, so something malfunctioned with my sheath here. Or I just stabbed it so hard that the sheath itself, even though being blunt, created a punch wound. So I don't like that, okay? And I don't like that. Notice how my instinct was right to tape it first, and I could have avoided it. I like this dummy, I'm gonna have to repair it. I guess I can use some duct tape. Yeah, bad place to get stabbed. Okay, so that's actually stabbed it hard enough to where this, unless it's like the blade came through, but it doesn't look like it snapped apart. It's still together. Go lighter. Knife fighting 1-2s. Or get better knife fighting. Mostly the 1-2 combinations. That's good. Getting better at least. So knife fighting 1-2s basically. So instead of going stab, stab, I lead in with a slash a lot of times, followed up by stab. So this way attacking, naturally charge up a follow-up, which is this. A stab. So slash, stab. And the slash can be at this angle, and stab can be here, see? So it's still slash, stab, slash, stab, slash, stab. See, it can be here, slash, stab. It can be here, slash, stab. But it's still the same basic combo. 1-2, slash, stab, slash, stab, slash, stab, or roughly it's like 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And you can do You can mix it up and do distance change, level change into this. Here is another attack. Here, which can be unexpected. Attack like this. So if I have it here, go here. See, it's similar to a reverse elbow strike. See, here, and I can slide it here, go here. So from here, and it's similar to reverse elbow strike. See, only the force generation is about the same. So instead of going here, it's this. See. If you can grab the neck too, that can happen. You grab, like I said, a common instinctual attack is grab instead, grabbing the clothing and then do like a sewing machine. And more refined way can be to do a neck capture, where I control the neck rather than holding on to the clothes. I'm grabbing the neck, getting a hand behind his body, and then feeding with blows. So a way that a lot of people like attack instinctual knife is called the sewing machine or grab instead. Like grab onto the person and then start throwing this. So whereas a more refined way, well, rather than what a lot of people grab the clothes or something like this, it can be grabbing the neck and then mix up the target. So I might start here, 1, 2, 3, maybe let go now. 4 to the neck. Okay, so mix it up. It's hard to defend if you keep changing the attacks. If I keep spamming this, eventually a person might figure out and start blocking. Because if I'm only throwing this, so I can block can be simple like this. But if I throw 1, 2, 3, and there's like once you figure out this stab like this, and the instinctually might be to protect against more of those attacks, the next attack might be here, see? Like here. Or here. Okay. Just bang, 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 and then get into another position. So this is similar to like a lunge and jab. All of this. And I go down and then shoot up. It's leading to the same hole. And to crack through the cranium, that can also be an instant kill. If you hit hard enough, the knife is strong enough, it's not going to be enough to just go like this. If you want to punch through the cranium, you're going to have to use force. Similar to multi-elbow strikes. See, I can generate a lot of force and crash down with an elbow strike. If you want to pull a technique off without getting the knife through the cranium, the skull into the brain, it's not going to be as simple as going like this. You're going to have to generate a lot of force. And the knife and your grip has to be strong enough. But it's not impossible that you could crack the skull and get through the cranium. If the knife is strong enough, your grip is strong enough, and your technique is strong enough. So to crack through the cranium like a zombie movie and get something in the brain, it's not going to be as simple as like tapping it like this or going like this. You're going to have to generate a lot of force. See, like this. And it's similar for one of many things. Remember, I'm showing you things that are effective knife fighting attack techniques. And it's basically augmented boxing. So if you know 1, 2, it's 1, punching the blade into the person's throat. So it's like 95% the same technique as boxing, see? So knife fighting, instead of hooks to the body like this with my fists, I'm holding a knife and notice how I can hook. It's the same thing, only in a different way. And everything is the same, like the force generation and footwork and everything else. And more kite techniques too. They want to hit here, holding a knife. See, it's the same thing. Or if I want to be like an elbow to the sternum, holding a knife. See, it's like I'm throwing an elbow, and the same technique, one dynamics, draining force here. The distance is the only thing that changes. See, and I punch the blade. And this is similar to a hand fist. See? It's a hand fist. How I like to set up standing hand fist attacks is to set them up by lowering my level. Same as if I want to land a power overhand right, like a Roy Nelson overhand. Is go left, drop my weight, and then go overhand. So, with the hand fist, I don't want to hit like this. And since this is the level, this will go up the way to attack with a hand fist. So going down here, see, and with knife fighting, hammer fist attacks work from every angle. Where hammer fist here can hurt, but it's not the hardest attack. Now if you hold the knife, hammer fists from this angle are going to be dangerous from any angle. So it's this I can upper hammer fist with the knife. Another thing that's good about daggers, I talked about this before, as a fighting knife. What makes a dagger one of the best fighting knives is if you're fighting it's chaotic, then I go for my next stab. Here, person's moving towards me, there's a fight, and I'm missing, hitting like this, with a dagger, just pulling back, I'm cutting, see. If when I'm wrestling, I have my hand here, I can pull the knife back and I'm cutting. So with a normal knife that's only sharp in front of your thumb, it's like if I slash here, go for a stab here, it's not sharp on the back, so just pull straight back as with a cut. But it's cutting in front of it. I don't have to roll the blade back to pull it. With a dagger, it's sharp on both sides. If I miss with the next stab, it's also good to drill to do muscle memory for, where you can like miss on purpose. Like this, and then pull. So if I go for a stab here, the person's charging. I go for a stab here, catch them coming in maybe, with this stab. If I miss and I'm behind the head, quickly I can just pull back the blade and I'm cutting back. So I go for a stab here to the neck, miss, see, and up here, impact like a clothesline with the forearm. If I still have a knife, I just simply need to pull back and I'm cutting, see. And I'm cutting forward, I'm cutting back, I'm cutting here, I'm cutting here. Everywhere I turn, I'm cutting. So it's not just in front of me. So that's one of the benefits of a dagger. Like if I go for a stab here, like this, miss, hit here, pulling back, I'm cutting because it's sharp on both sides. If I go for a stab here, miss, pulling back, I'm cutting. The person shoots a takedown, but I end up with the knife behind him here. Just pull it and cut. If it's a knife that's only sharp in front, I can stab or like rotate it, roll it in my hand to get a cutting edge. But with a dagger, it's sharp both sides. If I stab here, miss, I'm going for this. Miss, pull, I'm cutting. Also, if you get into the water with a stab, pulling on it or pushing on it, you're exasperating the wound. So, simulate miss, pull. Simulate miss on the left, pull, and I'm cutting. Now notice how I'm ready to cut forward too. Here. And up here to cut back. So it's cutting every way. And if I have the knife here, attack like this, and he's going for the knife arm to try to control it. Like just pulling it straight up, this is the cutting edge there, with a dagger. So it's like it's cutting this side. If I go for something here, and up here, I can cut just moving straight up. And it's not like in front of me only. So there's some advantage to a dagger. That is also about twice as easy to hurt yourself. But for example, if you have a bad grip when you do the punch cutting here, and it bends into your arm, if you cut yourself. So if you don't have a good grip, like if it's sharp only in the front, the benefit of that is if I attack like this, and it bends, it's not sharp on the back. But if I have a bad grip, hit here, and it bends into my arm, it's sharp on that side. It's easy to get hurt with a dagger as well. I held up. Now I'm gonna have to repair the dummy. I don't like that I deliver a puncture wound to the neck. So this happened today in training. I must have hit it hard enough to where this broke through. And I guess I could duct tape it. Now this is how it began with my previous dummy before it broke down. I got this. There's I guess it's actually all over time using the dummy for impact and weapons. They started getting damaged and the head came off with holes all over. Now possibly I can use some glue and some tape to fix it. Because it's a cut there, so if I would pull already, more likely to tear and things like that. That is gonna be a way to fix it. So, you know what? I like knife fighting. Knife fighting martial arts. Okay, yeah. Good times. Good video.